Good evening, dear teacher. My name is Santiago Pina, and finally I'm going to describe and analyze my lesson plan number 10. The theme, the theme of my lesson plan and my class is teach users and common habits, and also the phrasal verbs. The TEFL objectives are first describe in an organized way activities that we like to do. Our knowledge regarding phrasal verbs is rich. Understand what phrasal verbs are and pronounce correctly between words and also pronounce correctly the phrasal verbs. The methodology and strategies. The methodology that I'm going to use in my lesson plan is the suggested method and the grammar translation method. And the strategies that I'm going to use in my class is the whole class work, written exercise and dialogue. First, with the anticipatory set, we have the teacher starts the class by asking students about the activities of their interests and what they like to do. The students will share their interests and can interact with the teacher, sharing ideas and the way in which we can introduce in the topic of the class. They are shown images related to the study topic so that the students infer about the class is going to deal with. Here we are going to work with the suggested method because it has to be with the analysis of images and graphics. The main teaching input first in the first activity of the lessons we have images which the students must observe each one and also have a notion of what each image is about, match the photos with the profiles. Here also we are going to work with suggested method because we have to analyze the images. We have first the images of people that have different personalities and habits, and after of this we have the describe of their personalities and the kind of things that they like to do. The word bank that we have in the next section is read while I give them their translation into Spanish and their correct pronunciation. Here I'm going to use the grammar translation method, but a little of the other method that is the audiolingual method because I'm going to translate in Spanish the meaning of the words and also teach to my students pronunciation, the correct pronunciation of the words. Using the word that they should place their respective phrasal verbs to measure that contains or treat about an action. Yes, here in the activity number 2, we have to use the word bank that in which we have phrasal verbs, and next we have images that refer to the actions, um, inferring the meaning of the phrasal verbs, and after knowing the meaning, the translation, we're going to fill the and complete the information that we have in the activity 2. Also, the teacher will explain their students about vocabulary strategies referring to synonyms and antonyms, and to remember new vocabulary grammar translation method. Activity 3, matching the words with their synonyms and antonyms continues. To carry out this activity, they can use the dictionary. Yes, for realize the activity number 3, my students can use their dictionaries to help with the meanings or the synonyms or antonyms that they need to match. The next activity will be carried out in pairs in which the students they must complete the dialogue between a father and his daughter using it is the phrasal verbs of the previous activity. Yes, my students are going to work in pairs using the previous information that we have in the book to complete the activity number 5, first reading, and after completing the dialogue. The teacher explains that the phrasal verb consists of I'm going to explain briefly to my students with what is phrasal verbs and when we can use it kind of verbs. They will fill in the blank boxes of the grammar part with the help of the teacher. We're going to to realize the reflected grammar that he will have boxes that we have to complete the phrasal verbs. They will fill in the black boxes of the grammar part with the help of teacher. They are going to do it with my help. They are taught how to pronounce the linking sounds so that only they understand these the students can use it in their oral production. Yes, I'm going to give to my students tips in pronunciations between words, how to pronounce between the words, modeling the exercise developed in the worksheets will serve for this occasion to make sure the for modeling. Teacher gives his students some sheets with the lists of the most used phrasal verbs in the English language with their respective meaning, which will help them develop the other proposed activities. Here I'm going to use the suggestive method because students have to read and analyze all the verbs that contains the sheet that I'm going to give to my students that are going to be useful to realize the other exercise posed. Then provides some examples of sentences with phrasal verbs and explains its context. Also, I'm going to give my students other kinds of examples of sentences with phrasal verbs and explain the context of the sentences. In the guided practice, students must read the sentences of activity numbers 5 and 6. These activities consist of analysis of images to be able to complete the sentences using the phrasal verbs. They have to choose the core form of the verb to complete each sentences. Help will provided to students with their doubts on concepts. I have to help my students if they require my help. Independent practice. The students are assigned worksheets with exercise related to phrasal verbs. I have designed worksheets to my students for work with phrasal verbs. The statement is read and they are explaining how to do it. I have to explain clearly to my students how to work in this activity. For this activity, a time limit of 10 minutes is determined in which the students must carry out the activity silently and individually. The teacher monitors that the students complete with its provisions and can always provide help to explain how to carry out the activity. Not I'm not going to help with the development of the exercise. And in the assessment, the exercise developed in the worksheets will serve for the education to measure the learning of the students, which will be reviewed one by one by the teacher, who must analyze the results obtained in a clever and individual way. And analyzing it, I am going to realize if I have to change some strategies or methods that I'm using in my class. And finally, for the classroom review and follow up to the end of the class, a brief review of the content of the class is given. Students must complete the project step found in their book, uh, like homework. They have to read the project, read the privacy that they have on their books, and they are clearly explaining how to carry out the activity, and they are reminded that they can make use of the information provided by me, the information that they have on the book. Also, they can search for other sources.